This is Formula SAE FastCast, the official podcast of the Formula SAE series.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Formula SAE FastCast. Today we'll be discussing Formula SAE Lincoln, which is in just a few days. I'm here with Kaylee Zundel, Program Manager for Formula SAE, and Martha Tress, the Sponsorship Manager for the Collegiate Design Series. We are just a few days away and lots of new changes for Lincoln. First up, I want to just touch on a little bit of logistics. The early registration will still exist for Lincoln. What do students need to know about that, Kaylee?
So we posted a news feed, I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago. We have shortened the hours just because we didn't get a constant steady stream, and it's already a long day for the staff and the volunteers who have been working the past 2 days for setup. So in past years, it's gone for 4 hours from 3 to 7. This year, it'll be just 3 to 5. There's nothing special. Any team, as long as you're willing to come bring your Formula SAE car and paddock it in the spot that we assigned you and have your fast track registration forms ready, we will register you early on Tuesday night. If not, we'll see everyone Wednesday morning.
And that time is especially important to Formula Electric teams.
Correct. So Formula Electric, new this year, something that we are trying, that we have been shared with us from other competitions, is an early accumulator inspection. So for teams that are going to be participating in the early registration that are electric from 3 to 5, we will do early accumulator inspections from 3 to 6 p.m. And the only thing teams really need to know about that is just be wise to how you pack your trailer. Because this isn't a come paddock and start working on your car, things like that. You're literally going to unpack the accumulator and then go right to the Danley building where the electric tech inspection takes place.
And that's a required thing for electric teams, correct?
It is. It'll be required as part of the inspection process overall. So you don't have to be there Tuesday night for the early accumulator inspection, but your team will not proceed through the actual electrical inspection before having the accumulator inspected. So that will be step one, essentially, for teams going to electric inspection, whether you show up on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Cool. So give them a few extra hours to get a head start on tech inspection.
Mm-hmm.
One other logistic change this year is that we are moving design out of the Danley building, where it has been since we came to Lincoln a few years ago, and moving them into their own standalone tent. Anything specific that teams need to know about what to expect from that setup?
So I think logistically it'll be easier just to get through. The tent will be located over towards the general parking on the other side of I guess it's the first row of paddocks that we have in the fuel station. It'll be located up that way. But the teams will be able to access the queues from every side versus having to go through a specific gate. And logistically, that works for us because we no longer have to have somebody man that gate. Also, one of the things this change allowed us to do is there was a very large disconnect with the charging tent area for the electrical teams. So we have actually moved that inside the Danley building to where tech inspection will also take place. So the team members for electric will have the ability to work on their accumulators and charge right in the same vicinity as any of the inspectors. So if there are any questions or issues, the knowledge is right there.
That's a nice change. I
think
that's really going to help.
Yeah, we hope it will help. Unfortunately, one of the things that we have seen over the last couple years is, we have always been a little bit light on the EV technical inspectors. Not for lack of trying, but just unfortunately, that's just the way it has come out. June tends to be a very busy month for people. So this will definitely help with that, we think. One of the things, though, for all teams that are going to design to know about, so scales will still be inside the Danley building on Wednesday, just because Wednesday, only thing that takes place is tech inspection. Since you guys are going to be in that area of the building anyway, you can still go through and get your weight done. And you do not have to wait to go into tech inspection to get your weight. You can go at any time. But on Thursday, those scales will be relocated to the design tent. So if you're a team who did not get to the scales on Wednesday, you will just go directly to the design tent to get your weight, and hopefully in a timely manner before your actual design appointment.
Great. So let's move on to some of the more fun things. So Martha, I know your team is working on bringing in some special food trucks for the event. Well, we've had a few in the past, but as you know, this is a little bit outside of the city. The site itself is a little bit outside of the city, so food options around are pretty limited to pretty much pizza. So what will we
Gas
have?
stations.
Yeah, gas stations. What will students be able to expect from that?
I think what Victoria has lined up is a little bit of a variation. So it's not just the nitro burger. There's going to be a taco truck and burgers and dogs and brats, or she calls them brats. And so it's just kind of giving you guys options to have a quick bite of lunch while you're there at the track at the event, and that way you don't have to go off site and find some food. So it's going to be rotating, but only on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because on Wednesday will be the traditional pizza lunch sponsored by Honda that will follow the welcome ceremony that they do. So you're going to be fed on Wednesday.
So food trucks only Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes, but the lemonade lady,
True. She'll be there on
that's
Wednesday.
very popular.
Yes.
Will be right there near the main tent.
A crowd
every day.
favorite.
Yes, it is.
The other food vendors will be along the fence line where Hoosier's at. So,
Yes, next to Hoosier.
Yeah, so that'll be nice. Keep them out of the way from the traffic flow out of the paddocks. And then also will be really nice for the dynamic and endurance days. Similar to Formula Michigan, we will be bringing the SAE store to Lincoln. What can students expect from that?
We're not going to bring the sweatpants and the hoodies. We just discussed that today, in the beanies, because that's kind of like winter wear that we needed at Michigan and some of our other events.
But they will be available online in the future. So they were not going away. They are just not making the trip to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Right. So we will have T-shirts and hats, decals, and the little credit card wallets that go on the back of your phone that people are finding really popular. So that's what we'll have for the store. And that'll be near the Reg, in the Reg tent.
We are once again doing the Panoramic Photo. Students really loved this last year, and it was a lot of fun to watch come together. Kayla, you want to give the details on when teams can expect that?
And will there be an animal?
The T-Rex again?
The T-Rex came last year, and we really had a lot of fun with that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you couldn't be there.
I was not there. I was all the fun.
I was having fun watching that T-Rex run across the tarmac trying to get to the photo.
Oh, that's so funny. We need to make sure we have some video then, maybe, huh? Yeah, so similar to last year, we were able to arrange the panoramic photo on Thursday's schedule. It seems to be one of the best days, just because Friday night we have design finals. So we want to make sure, obviously, that the design finalists can be included in this photo. Similar to last year, so we will have a mandatory drivers meeting that starts at 6 o'clock on Thursday, at which time the staging for the panoramic photo also takes place, but it's just for staging. Once the drivers meeting is done, we'll give all the drivers a few minutes to get over to the brake noise practice area, which is where we line up everybody for the panoramic photo before we take the photo. I mean, typically the photo will probably be taken, I don't know, you guys probably took it like 6:30, 6:45 probably last year. One of the things we would like to do is, because we won't know who the top 10 will be for the 2018 competition, what we'd like to try to do is have the top 10 from 2017 who are returning with the 1 through 10 car numbers in the front row. And then we will put, additional cars filling up throughout the back. And then we'll fill in with all the people. Or actually, no, we put the people behind, I think, all the cars, right? So we'll do the same process. We do that for Michigan. It works really well. And it turns out to be a really nice photo. So we'll look to do the same thing on Thursday. And then if for some reason we have some bad weather, luckily for us, we do have Friday we could try to make to work, or we usually have a lot of time to kill between Endurance Day and the awards.
Yes.
So we can always try to do it then too if we absolutely need to. So
Yeah, so this is a good transition to just mention making sure you have the Formula SAE app downloaded. That's how we were able to communicate with teams about the Michigan Panoramic Photo. And if there is a weather change, that is where you will hear it first. You can just go to your app store on Android or on Apple and just search for Formula SAE app, and it will pull it up. Just have it downloaded on site. You don't need to use your data on site. You'll be able to use, if you don't have data, you'll be able to connect to the guests and teams Wi-Fi that will allow you access to the app. So best way to keep up to date with all of the information that's coming out by the minute, as well as any important weather information, I will say.
we did do this at Michigan. It worked really well. One of the feedbacks that a couple of times I had gotten was, I guess when we had communicated the app and the news, I think teams expected us to push notifications constantly. We will only push the actual notifications for emergencies and like really need to push out, information. Otherwise, we will just constantly be updating the news feed, which updates the app. So I think that's just good to point out to the teams.
Good clarification.
Yeah. And as a side note, we just aren't sure what the tolerance is for push notifications yet.
Right.
So that's why we're not pushing everything. But please feel free to use the feedback button at the very bottom of the menu. If you feel like we should be pushing out more notifications, please, please, please pass that information on. We don't want to be blowing up people's phones constantly. We're not sure what that tolerance is. So please share your feedback, and we're certainly looking into that for the off season on what that looks like in terms of new features, as well as kind of process changes like Kaylee mentioned about what we'll be pushing, that sort of thing. So yeah, make sure you have the app downloaded before you get on site. And if you didn't remember to download it, you can always hit up the new spot on site. Martha, you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So General Motors is going to have an internet cafe. They're going to be stationed kind of adjacent to the paddock near the main tent like they were last year for those that are returning. And at that little cafe area, they will also have the cooling stations, kind of like a mister, just to kind of chill out if we need it. I don't know. Maybe the weather's going to be gracious and not cook us on the tarmac this year, but
I don't want to scare anybody, but it was 100 degrees on Memorial Day weekend there.
Oh boy. So on that note, talking about weather, SCCA has been very gracious. Between SCCA Club and the foundation, they are sponsoring water this year, and they have donated 20,000 bottles of water, which will go very fast in that kind of temperature. So you will get that when you come in and register. So be sure and thank any of the SCCA workers as you see them on course and for their generosity.
Yeah, and just to clarify on that one too, the students will, we believe we have it worked out that each team will get 7 cases of water. And you will collect that at registration, at the time of registration. So you will be kind of required to
Bring a few people?
manage it yourself on site. Yeah, bring a few people to collect it. Maybe we can get some people to deliver. I don't know, but we got some golf carts. On a serious note, though, you will have all 7 cases provided up front. So you will definitely need to make sure, how you guys are distributing the water for your team in general, especially if we do have those very hot temperatures. But I don't know, maybe it'll snow.
Snow, hail.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's Michigan.
We also have some other sponsors that are both returning and new. Altair, you've seen them for the last several years, but this year they're doing the registration sponsor. So they're going to be in a little tent right outside of this registration tent, giving out some bags that you can carry stuff around. It was very popular at Michigan. It was sponsored by Nissan there. Cooper is adding skid pad to their lineup this year. And Roush is doing acceleration. and Magna is doing maneuverability.
Baja.
I'm at Baja. Sorry about that. Get me back to Formula. So they're doing autocross. Yes. And as always, you'll be getting your shirts during registration from SolidWorks. And then Cummins is joining us at Tech this year. They've been sponsoring Tech at Michigan for several years. So it's kind of nice to see the Michigan players coming over to Lincoln. You guys have been asking for those kind of benefits. Well, here it comes. So we're really happy to hear all that.
That reminds me regarding tech inspection. So teams haven't received our little welcome newsletter yet, partly because we haven't been able to send out any emails from the organization due to the
GDPR.
Yeah, the GDPR for teams. If you don't know what that is, it's
Europe.
Europe has basically created. It's actually probably not a bad thing, but solicitation emails, things like that, are not to be sent out, and there's just currently some. I guess
it's a transition
right? Discussion of what solicitation versus your emails, because you've signed up for the registration. So everything kind of got a little halted, but that should be going out soon, maybe before this podcast gets released. I'm not even sure.
Probably be running neck and neck, to be honest.
Yeah, be neck and neck. So one of the things that we did post on that newsletter, though, was the much anticipated, tech numbers. This year, we did not go with pre-assigning any tech numbers. It's going to be a first come, first serve. However, the event captains are asking that you are realistic about when you're going to be ready to go tech inspection. So you will go through gear check to get your all your gear checked for safety and everything, and then at that time you'll get assigned your tech number. But we're hoping that teams can get through tech inspection pretty quickly. So realistically, if your car is not ready to go within the first 40 slots, I probably would not worry about getting your tech number just yet. Also, because I know this is going to cause a little sensation on site, please do not line up for the gear check until it's even ready to be open. It's actually not going to be in the same location it has been, right outside the Danley building. We are still working on that location. So actually, you won't be able to line up unless we have it defined by then.
It'll be like a treasure hunt.
I know. Maybe I should make a map.
Scavenger hunt.
But no. So obviously patience is a virtue, and we would really appreciate it if you could just help us out a little bit. Especially as I know everyone wants to get through tech quickly, and we understand that. We're going to do our best to help everybody. But tech can only go as fast as cars are actually ready, and they will probably be a little bit more strict on how long you are staying in tech, because we have not pre-assigned slots based on document, submission and feedback and approval rates and everything. So,
one other, Martha, do you have any other sponsorship stuff?
No, I think that's good. They're going to be able to see it on the app. We have a sponsor highlight tab that's going to be on there that kind of gives a little story of each one and what they're doing.
Yeah, so that's a great reference while you're on site and you want to kind of refresh your memory about who's going to be there on site. Please bring your resumes. Sponsors are looking to hire, so
there's going to be a dozen of them in the tent, in the registration tent. So they're there for a reason. They want you.
Yep. Let's show them that Lincoln is a great place to be a sponsor. Maybe better than Michigan. Can we make that happen, guys? It's certainly warmer, right?
Yeah, definitely warmer. You have that going for you.
One other housekeeping thing I want to mention is that with this full transition over to the digital technology, we will no longer be printing paper scores. So there's a couple pieces to this. The first is that I highly recommend that you go on to the app and you favorite your team. As soon as you get a result pushed, you will get a push notification saying that you received a new result. So that'll be true of static and dynamic results once they get pushed out there. And then the other piece is make sure you're checking your results and then submitting problem reports for anything that you see that's kind of weird or off. You have a missing score, that sort of thing. We have people watching the problem reports all day, and they'll go and investigate with the event captain and then get back to you with a result. So this is not a protest. This is simply something's off or missing, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anything else about that, Kaylee?
Yeah, so official protest, meaning you think your team really was wronged for, a score or a run. That official protest will still, you need to come find myself. We will go talk to the event lead.
There's a form for that.
Yeah. Actually, we're actually kind of getting rid of the form because we still want to push people to use the problem reports, because most of the times it's, hey, we have this cone and we actually didn't hit that cone, or hey, judges are human, they didn't add our scores correctly, things like that, which, aren't protests. So
that can be easily resolved.
Yeah. And so we still want this teams to use the problem report, but to officially make a protest, because the 25 points still stands. If you're going to make that official protest, you still need to come find me for the actual protest. Like, so when you fill out the problem report, you need to really put "I want to protest" type thing. But something I just want to follow up with. So we do have a number of teams that are coming to Lincoln who were just recently in Michigan. And I know we've gotten quite a few pieces of feedback with regards to the results, because one of the things that we didn't have readily available in Michigan that teams could see was the penalties for late submissions, things like that. We are definitely working on having that available for the teams in Lincoln, so that there are no confusion, to when the final results get posted and they wonder why, like they suddenly had a couple points drop in the overall results. So we will hopefully have that ready too. But for teams, if you want to self-check your penalty points right now, all you have to do is actually log into your FSC Online account and look at every document submission, and it'll tell you how many days you're late. And if you're late, then obviously you've gotten penalty points. So that's another way for teams to double check that.
Yeah, pay attention to the app, the news feed, for how the penalties end up getting posted once we figure out what the best place for those are. So work in progress on that one. We are wrapping up this CDS season. As usual, please fill out your survey after the event. This team takes survey feedback very seriously, and
don't just gripe about pizza doesn't have pepperoni.
Yeah. True.
Give us some feedback that we can actually do things with next year. Because we really do, like Amanda said, we take it seriously. We sit down and comb through all the feedback that you provide and try to figure out how we can improve things. Well,
I think too, it's like I for team members who attend any of the ceremonies, welcome one particularly, I tell them up front, like, we pay attention to these surveys very well. I really want their feedback, but if it's just going to be a sour feedback that just says this sucks or things like that, we won't read it. We won't pay attention to it.
How to fix that.
Right. And what's even better is, you can complain about something, but what's even better is if you can also supply some sort of resolution that you think might fix. It might not be what we implement, but it can send us off on another tangent that thinks, oh, this will work, So, constructive feedback is always best. Whether you like it or don't like it, just provide some actual constructive feedback, and then maybe you'll see some changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just talked for 30 minutes about changes coming to Lincoln, and a lot of those are a result of feedback that we received from students and sponsors. So, okay, well, we're just a few days out. We look forward to seeing you all in Lincoln. Make sure you download the app. Make sure you're reading Kaylee's welcome letter, and we'll see you at early registration.
And be ready for the weather, whatever it might bring.
Bring sunscreen.
Yeah, lots of sunscreen.
Thanks for listening to Formula SAE FastCast. As always, we want to hear from you, so email us at formulasae@sae.org. The show notes for this episode can be found at www.fsaeonline.com. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next episode.